Well, how about that? You're getting 2 podcasts in one day.
Aren't you the lucky devil?
If you don't know what I'm talking about, we also have a current events podcast, which is probably up before this one. But being The Walking Dead's off the air, we still try to keep up and discuss things as they come. So if we don't know everything there is to know, keep in mind that we've just read an article or two, and we're here to discuss it, not to be your one-stop shop for Walking Dead. So don't cuss us out too much if you're like, they already said so-and-so. Blah. Anyways, my name is Justin.
And I'm JP.
And we're the Podcasting Dead. From the name, duh, we do talk about The Walking Dead, but we offer a variety of different podcasts for all types of different people. So make sure to check out our channel and give it a subscribe. What does it hurt, right? It's not like it cost you anything.
Yeah, it's going to be fun.
So give it a subscribe. And also, maybe spoiler warnings. I don't know. We're talking about The Walking Dead, so there's a chance we might spoil the show, maybe even the comics. So if you have not caught up on either or whatever, just maybe come back at a later time. But anyways, we'd love to have you stick around. JP and I just read that they are going to do a 3rd Walking Dead show, a second spinoff.
Yeah, I've been hearing about this for a while, but it always been speculation. It wasn't confirmed, no details. Right. It was just like there's going to be another Walking Dead companion show, and we finally got verification. We got a little bit of detail on it.
So it appears it's going to focus on 2 female protagonists.
2 little girls. Well, not little girls, but 2 young women.
Which is cool because The Walking Dead has definitely done a great job of creating, like, especially in season 9, man. Like, I mean, I'm not saying they haven't had strong female characters before, but season 9 really kind of showcased what the females in The Walking Dead can do. I mean, they're leaders, they're badasses, they save your ass. They're up there with some of the best. And, and it seems like they're going to continue that with this show. And from what you were telling me, JP, it seems like these 2 girls, it's going to be showing it from the perspective of people who were basically born into this.
Yeah, exactly. So we're going to see what growing up in this atmosphere does to a person.
Do we know if it's going to be like they're already grown up, or are they kids? Do you know anything about that? Are they teenagers?
What I read, I think they are going to be maybe teenagers or maybe like early 20s. Or probably teenage. Probably, like I said, like they grew up in this, so, young women, and we'll see.
Which begs the question, like, where's that going to fall in conjunction to that? Because, I mean, we know that the shows haven't always matched up time-wise. I mean, the Fear the Walking Dead, unless they're going to do some big time jump, which they might, but, right now they're quite a bit behind The Walking Dead. When we left Fear, it was caught up with The Walking Dead. Morgan had left from the last Walking Dead story and yada, yada, yada. And they were pretty much synced up pretty closely. And then The Walking Dead did a year and a half time jump. But I think that was after Fear the Walking Dead had stopped. So I think, correct me if I'm wrong, but so when Fear stopped, it was caught up with The Walking Dead time-wise. And now, of course, The Walking Dead's jumped a year and a half, and then they jumped 6 years, and then they jumped a few months. So they're like way on out there. But I wonder where this show's going to fall in the timeline. Will this be like in Rick and everybody are long? I mean, which Rick is gone, but all of our characters are long gone, and this is way in the future. I mean, I wonder where that's going to fall.
I don't know, man. I would think it'd have to be pretty close to where The Walking Dead is right now. If these
as far as when they're born, or because you got to think. I mean, how long has the apocalypse been going on in The Walking Dead? I know super fans out there have the answer, but you got to think. Rick was in a coma for a month, right?
Yeah,
he came out of the coma, and then, I mean, what were we, like 2 years into the apocalypse by the time Negan showed up? Is that about right? Somewhere between a year and 2 years?
I don't know, man.
It's so hard. It's hard to keep up with. Like, I feel like, I could figure it out, but I'd have to go back and really, like, sit down with a pen and a pad and notate every time they mentioned a reference to time. But, The Walking Dead, I mean, it's flash forward, but we're talking, like, maybe 10 years.
That sounds about right.
Maybe, since the apocalypse started. So, I mean, these kids, even if it's sunk up with the show, they would only be, if they were born, like, right after the apocalypse started, then, I mean, you're still looking at 10-year-olds. If that, 9-year-olds. But
yeah, it's hard to say. I'm thinking, kids who were maybe like Carl's age when it went down.
Oh, see, I thought we were talking about like born into it. Like
and maybe
when they were born, the apocalypse had already started.
Yeah, like I said, it's I don't know exactly what
something about zombies and the loss of humanity just got somebody's juices going, and they made babies. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, man. Nothing makes you want to bone like
Well, that's true. That's actually very. I read it. There was a book. I took a controversial issues class in college, and we were discussing the Rwandan like massacre. You know what I'm talking about? Between the Tutsis and the Hutus and the Tutsis. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
And in that book, it talked about how like that's the way the brain's programmed. Like during these traumatic events, while people were like hiding in the woods and running in fear, people got knocked up during that time because maybe it's something programmed in our brain that when you think you might be eradicated, you start reproducing to save your species and your people. But
man,
so,
all that adrenaline gets flowing. It's hard for some of it not to end up down in your junk.
People be making some babies when the world ends.
Yeah. I know I would be. Shoot.
You'd be making babies anytime.
You ain't got to pay no child support if the government's collapsed. So, shoot. Throw that stuff all over the place.
JP would just be going around knocking people up and just, you'd be a rambling man, wouldn't you?
Oh, yeah, man. Oh, yes. It'd probably be about the same, right here and now.
Shoot. I got that song Rambling Man in my head now.
Oh, man, the Waylon Jennings or Allman Brothers.
Allman Brothers is what I got in my head, but I like the Waylon Jennings, too.
You're talking about Midnight Rider, I think.
Is that what it's called? Is that the name of the song? Lord, I was born a rambling man.
Oh, no, never mind. No, you never mind.
Trying to make a living in the best time. I know it was the Allman Brothers, but
yeah, man, it's not Midnight Special.
But JP would totally be a rambling man. That would be JP you would save the world. If you don't know, if all of this is foreign and you don't know us, I know that conversation is not that interesting to you, but go listen to some of our other podcasts and you'll see what we're talking about. JP would save the world in the zombie apocalypse. How, you ask? Because he'd be going around like impregnating people, like, starting the next generation. Just think, all the children in the future will be related to you.
Yeah, and I would think women would have a lot lower standards, post-apocalypse, which would work in my favor.
You'd be like Glenn dating out of your, I think Maggie's super hot, but a lot of people will be like, I've seen jokes about how Glenn used the apocalypse to date way out of his league. But I think that would be more like, because Glenn was kind of nerdy.
Right.
I think like Glenn and Maggie made a lovely couple.
Yeah, man.
I definitely didn't think like hot girl with an ugly dude. I just thought, she was hot and he was a little bit nerdy. Probably wouldn't have approached her before, but at the end of the day, they made a baby who we've yet to see, other than the flash forward, which can't be accurate because that was just Rick's vision of the future. That little baby we saw, that was not actually their baby because that was, what Rick imagined the future would be like. So we don't even know what little Herschel looks like.
We sure don't.
Come back, Maggie. She's so back and forth. So not to change. We're supposed to be talking about the new show, and we are going to talk about the new show, but we're here to discuss The Walking Dead.
Yeah, man.
Lauren Cohen is so back and forth. So, like, we had a video where we talked about her leaving and all of that, and had people say mean things, and then we ended up being right because she did leave. And then we were talking about how, it wasn't looking like she might even come back because she was saying. And just the other week, I read an article where she said that she would come back in a guest role, but she don't know that Maggie would ever come back full force. And now, like in the last day or two, I've read articles where she said Maggie's story's not done. Like now that Whiskey Cavaliers has been confirmed to be canceled, she's changing up her tune. She's like,
that's what it's all about.
Oh no, I don't know. Maggie's coming back, which I don't blame her. I mean, Lauren Cohen's got a bright future ahead of a great actress, very lovely lady. So I don't blame her one bit. I mean, you play the same character for so long, I'm sure you want to try new opportunities, but at the end of the day, this is your cash cow, man. Pay Maggie what she wants.
Yeah.
Writing Dead producers.
I mean, at the end of the day, the network shows do pay way more than cable shows, but you got to think, how many of them just, fall on their back and, you get one season out of it.
You're talking about a cable show that's going into its 10th season and has no signs of slowing up, whether, regardless of what they say about the ratings, because season 9 was phenomenal.
Yeah, man.
And with Angela King there, I feel like, they know obviously, okay, she knows what she's doing. She's a great showrunner. If she says it's worth paying Maggie this much, and I know that, people that are in charge of money aren't. We both do radio sales, so we understand people that control the money aren't usually that understanding. But at the end of the day, I think that Maggie is going to come back, but, she's so back and forth.
Yeah, man. I would have loved to have seen her went to like an HBO series or like even FX or something, just something edgy and just not some, milksop, network.
Typical,
dramedy.
What would be really cool, though, obviously it's focusing on two girls, so it can't be. It'd be really cool if we knew Maggie was never going to come back or Lauren Cohen was done with the show. How dope would it be to have a show that has that same premise, but one of the characters is Herschel Jr.?
Oh, that'd be awesome.
He was born into the apocalypse, created in the apocalypse. You merely adapted the apocalypse. I was born into it. molded by it.
I'd like to see a Walking Dead series about the Amish. What's going on with the Amish?
Oh, they're probably good to go.
Yeah, they're well suited. They're in a low population area.
Probably built some stronger fences, I imagine, because we do have some Amish country out here in these parts, and their fences aren't the most sturdy. So you need something a little stronger to keep the walkers out. But aside from that, life probably just moves on as usual. Horses crapping in the road, selling their baked goods at local stores. I mean, they're just another day in the life of, I imagine. But so with this show, man, what do you want to see? Like, what's some things you're expecting out of it? Like, what would make this show for you? Like imagine I'm pitching this to you. You're a writer. I'm like, okay, JP, here's the premise we want. 2 girls born into the zombie apocalypse, same shared Walking Dead universe. What are some things that need to be in this show?
Well, it needs to be a very character-driven, very character-driven.
Need to see, like, they want to make this work and make it really impact. They need to show, like, some clear differences from them to the people that were not born into this. You know what I mean? Like, show us how being born into this world. You know what I mean? Like, we still have pop culture references, and we've still got all these personalities that were made on a TV set, even into the apocalypse. How these people, develop and grow and become who they are without these outside influences, just the people around them, basically.
Yeah, man. And not only that, I want to see a show that's just so vastly different, almost shot like cinematography-wise, almost like a documentary, just like a single camera, and not like found footage style, but just very like bare bones.
So you would like to see something done complete, like it doesn't feel like a continuation of The Walking Dead. It's in the same universe, but it feels like an entirely different experience.
Yeah, just something totally different, man.
I agree. That's what they need to do. It keeps it interesting, keeps it fresh.
So, I mean, Fear's different, but it's essentially following the same formula.
It feels somewhat like the same show.
Yeah, I mean, let's go totally off the map, totally off grid.
Make it more of like a movie type experience or something,
But yeah, just like single camera, the camera doesn't move. I don't know, kind of like first season Sopranos. I don't even know what I'm looking for.
Did you know in season 1 of The Walking Dead, Frank Darabont had them tilt when they were filming, the cameras were always tilted. Mm-hmm. Like they were done abnormally to like subconsciously, like, to instill that like everything's not right type thing, like especially like, I just hit my mic. Especially in like scenes where people are like running or zombies are attacking. Sometimes you'll notice like the camera's kind of tilted or it's on the ground or the camera might fall, and I mean, I have to go back and watch. I got in an argument with my buddy Joey the other day. He was going back through and Joey
watching
Coco Diaz.
Joey Lojack. He was just had gotten The Walking Dead, was watching from season 1 on up. And he was like, man, what happened? The zombies used to like be running all over the place. I'm like, the zombies never ran. The walkers didn't run. They're walkers. They're not runners. But sure enough, you see them chasing Rick out of Atlanta. Man, they're running like a son of a gun.
Well, that's they never have ran like 28 days later zombies. Those zombies just haul ass. Like they're marathon runners. But they definitely shuffled a lot faster, but that's a simple answer. It's just that they've decayed. I mean, then they were fresh. I mean, only a month into the apocalypse, we know they decay a lot slower than regular bodies. So we know that the muscles were probably rigor mortis had worn off, and they were a little bit more limber, and
they were definitely moving.
And then now, as time goes, they've started decaying. At least that's. I mean, nothing about the zombie anatomy makes sense or is logical. And that's the news flash. It's like, man, any kind of zombie outbreak that could actually happen in real life would be nothing like The Walking Dead. I mean, 28 days later is a more accurate depiction. You have, it might last for a little while, but eventually they all starve to death and they die off or whatever. But, I mean, nothing about the zombie. Like they talk, like we talked several times about how easy they make it look to stab through the skull, when in fact the skull is a super hard piece of bone that, I mean, it's not the easiest thing in the world to take a knife and just stab through it.
Yeah, much less Morgan's broomstick.
Right, that was the big one, right. Yeah, it's like, I mean, he's taking a blunt stick and sticking it through the zombies' heads. But they've said, like, if the body was so decayed that the skeleton, I mean, think about the skulls they find buried from hundreds of years ago that are still rock hard.
Yeah, they calcify.
So I mean, it's like at that point, if the skull was that mushy, there would be nothing left to make the zombie go. So I mean, it's all just fantasy and fun. But that's how I try to rationalize it. They moved faster in the beginning because they were fresh, and now some of the zombies we see have been zombies for quite a while, and they're decaying, and muscle mass is gone. And
that's just how long it had been. I didn't even remember that stuff.
I plan to go back a friend was telling us that they were actually going to originally do this entire like little miniseries to show how the army guy, I guess, ended up in the tank. You remember the one that Rick got the grenade from or whatever? And yep. But so I don't know, man. Going into this new show, I'm excited. If you listen to our podcast, JP and I are still huge fans of the show, especially season 9. It's just made me love it even more. And they got so many things right in season 9. And so I'm there. I see the announcement. And so many people comment, "Oh, just end the show already." Then why are you still following Walking Dead stuff, man? Yeah. Like, if you don't like it, just quit watching it. There's tons of shows that I've watched, lost interest in. Don't care for it. If somebody asks me my opinion, I'll give it. But at the end of the day, I don't care. If you like it, you like it. But I am excited for another Walking Dead show.
Yeah, dude. Like I said, I hope it's very, very different. I hope it's not more of the same, and I'll be happy.
They're filming it in our home state of Virginia, too, from what I'm seeing. Like 10 episodes.
Gimple is heading this one up.
Oh, God darn it.
I think I read that. I don't know if he's actually showrunner, but I know he's, like big picture, which I guess everything Walking Dead at this point he's over top of.
Scott Gimple has written things that we've liked, so I don't want to dog on him too bad because I feel like Scott Gimple's kind of the Nickelback of the Walking Dead universe. He's just easy to hate on. Everybody loves to hate on him. But at the end of the day, man, Scott Gimple has made some of the stupidest decisions a showrunner could make. Killed off characters, and I get it, right? It's the apocalypse. You should kill off characters, but there needs to be some like meaning to their death. And Scott Gimple it almost like the guy doesn't understand the importance of impact, and he just is like, okay, let's kill this guy off because people like him, right? Yeah, that would upset a lot of people. Let's do that.
Yeah, he's going more for shock value. I mean, even if it's not like a big like execution, meaningful thing, like just have it make sense within the story, and just not just like a attention grab.
Yeah. Well, like Carl's death was stupid. Like I'm not mad that they killed Carl off. I'm mad at the way they did it.
Right.
I mean, I would have loved, and don't get me wrong. I mean, I think I've just finally started liking like Carl within the last season or two before he died, and because when he was a kid, he got on my nerves, man. Mm-hmm. And then as he grew up, I was like, oh, he's turned into quite a badass.
Yeah.
But at least give it some meaning, like you said. I mean, he got bit, and then it all gets thrown right out the window, man. It's like he got bit saving someone, which was like a symbol for. This is how we should try to save people and yada, yada, yada. But then, like, we come back and Alexandria's not letting anybody in.
Right.
You know what I mean? And it's just like, come on, man. If you're going to kill Carl dying, like honestly, I think maybe you had said it or somebody, like when Negan launched that grenade attack, if Carl would have died in that, maybe saving Judith or saving people, dying a hero, and that maybe impacted Negan, like kind of led towards the end of his... I don't know. You know what I mean? You get what I'm going for?
Yeah, I feel you.
Like if it would have affected Negan and altered the way he did things because, holy crap, I just killed Carl. Totally didn't, I mean, I could have dealt with that. I've been like, well, it makes sense within the story. But to have him just saving a character that sucks, I'm sorry. If you're a Sadiq fan, more power to you. Right, I just don't care for the guy at all. I mean, you just killed him for somebody. I mean, again, man, if he would have killed him, hell. How about this? What if he would have died saving Negan?
Yeah.
Negan, it don't mean that Negan would, they could have resolved the story, Negan going, I will no longer fight. No, Negan could have still wanted to kill Rick, but been fighting in Carl's honor, which is like what the hell, But like if Negan would have been something and Carl would have went out there and saved him, but got bit and died because of it, and then, told his dad, like, this is how it should be. I could have gotten behind that. You know what I mean? It would have been heartbreaking and sad and... No, he just got bit helping a guy kill zombies to release their souls.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, it's pretty lame.
It was it's just very Scott Gimple. So, Scott Gimple, please, I don't think that you'll ever hear these podcasts. I'm not saying you haven't done some good work in the past, but please don't jack this up the way you've done with some Walking Dead stuff.
Yeah.
If anything, let Angela King oversee it.
Yeah,
obviously, she's doing her thing, man. She is rocking it. But let us know your thoughts on the new show, what you expect out of it, what you want. Of course, as developments come out, we will definitely talk about them here on the podcast. Just at the moment, there's not that much to work with. We just felt like we'd be in the wrong having a Walking Dead channel and not discussing this to some extent.
Yeah, man. And something else pretty cool in zombie news. You saw the trailer for The Dead Don't Die.
Oh,
That looks really good. So super excited for that. Comes out in June. Got Bill Murray.
Here's something interesting.
Adam Driver. Is that his name?
Yeah. Yep. If you pay attention when it shows one of the shots, it says, "Welcome to Centerville."
Uh-huh.
In my town, that's part of the town. It's called Centerville.
No kidding. Mm-hmm. Huh.
We have a Centerville mix. That's like if you're in my town and you're like, you're going to the Centerville Walmart or the, whatever. I mean, it's really cool, man. So I saw that and I was like, oh God, I know it's not happening in my town, but that's cool as hell.
Yeah. So yeah, excited about that, man. Good stuff coming down the pike.
Maybe we'll watch that and talk about it. Is that a Netflix movie?
I think it's coming out in theaters.
We should go see that and then talk about it.
I was just looking at it online. I know I've said his name before, Jim Jarmusch. Jim Jarmusch. He's a good writer director. So.
Well, yeah. So if you made it this far, hopefully you didn't hate us too bad. Maybe consider hitting that subscribe button. Give us a like and stick with us. We've got all kinds of podcasting stuff coming up. Of course, Walking Dead and not Walking Dead related. JP, is there anything you want to leave them with before we sign off?
I think that's it.
All right. Well, that's going to do it for us. We will catch you tomorrow for our Random Rambling Wednesdays, which has nothing to do with The Walking Dead, but it is interesting conversation. Consider giving that a listen. I'm Justin.
And I'm JP.
And we are the Podcasting Dead.